on GB News, Britain's news channel.
So we're talking about cash. Nearly half of you expect to see a cashless society in your lifetime. That's according to a new survey.
Yeah, 1 in 6 people say they never carry cash on themselves, me included. And that's strange for me, actually, because I was a big advocate of cash. But, yeah, it's just all too easy with your phone and wallet. So that's more than triple the number who admitted that in 2019.
So is it, I think, inevitable that we become a cashless society? Is it only a matter of time? Well, let's get the thoughts this morning of the political commentator with Young Voices UK, Jack Rowlett, who thinks Britain should go cashless, and the international banking expert Bob Liddon, who thinks cash should remain in circulation. Well, let's start with the defence of cash, shall we, Bob? You know, we'd miss it if it was gone, wouldn't we?
Well, we would. The public, businesses, we've been trained by the gradual withdrawal of services to accept that cash is on its way out. The problem is the alternatives. One is credit transfer. You get a lot of payment fraud on that. So that's a kind of subsidy for the industry that consumers have to bear risk of fraud. And then the other alternative, the main one, cards. It's not the consumer that pays, it's the person they pay. So merchants don't get the whole amount. You know, £100 circulating through 2 or 3 card transactions suddenly becomes £85. And there's this massive industry that's being subsidized like that. And then it's played back to consumers and businesses. We want this because it's convenient. We use it because the alternatives have been hobbled.
OK, well, let's see what Jack makes of those arguments. Does that persuade you?
Well, I think these new cashless technologies are a win-win. They're a win for consumers because they're more convenient. You know, it's easier to manage your money, easier to budget. You don't have to remember to bring your wallet with you, to bring your cash with you. And you can take advantage of all these wonderful new fintech products and services that the UK is a world leader in delivering. But it's also a win for businesses too, because actually in lots of cases, the costs of handling cash, of securing those processes, is actually less than the costs levied by companies like Visa and MasterCard for those card transactions. It's easier for retail workers too, because you're not having to, you know, count your cash all the time. You know, it takes a long time at the end of the day often. And it's better because it helps to eliminate the shadow economy and ensure that tax is being collected effectively too. Now, that's not to pretend there aren't problems with moving over to a cashless society. Of course, there are concerns about, you know, debanking or privacy. But actually, those are problems whether we have an entirely cashless society or not, because an increasing number of transactions are being made in that way. There are 30 billion contactless transactions made in 2022. But actually, I think what we need to do is we need to maximize the many advantages and minimize the few disadvantages.
But, Jack, the £30 billion worth of transactions you talk about, those people clearly haven't got such a big grievance about privacy. But privacy, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the biggest attributes to cash. You should be able to have a grandmother who can give her grandchild £10 here or there without the prying eyes of governments or corporations on her back. Likewise, traders, if the window cleaner comes around and he wants to be paid in cash, why shouldn't he be allowed to pay in cash?
Well, I think we do need strong privacy regulations, but I think that's precisely the point, is that if society is moving in that direction towards cashless technologies, and it is, as you know, we can demonstrate with the fact that the proportion of cash transactions is falling, then we need to ensure that there's a strong privacy framework in place to protect people from the prying eyes of government. As you say, I entirely agree that that's really important, but that's sort of important whether we keep cash or not, because an increasing number of people are paying in these digital ways. And we need to protect those people. So I think it's a related, but it's a separate conversation.
Yeah, and Bob, what the sort of talk of the shadow economy and this argument that if you've got nothing to hide, you know, you shouldn't be afraid to wave goodbye to cash. Do you accept that? I mean, is there this sort of underworld, the people dodging tax or whatever it might be, that this, you know, digital evolution will expose?
Well, you know, HM Revenue and Customs is one of the main advocates of cashless. It's a poor argument. It's a bogus argument. We're entitled to privacy. The should be basic human right. where unless the government has some pressing need to know. On the other hand, the HMRC view is they want to see everything. They can see everything. Privacy regulations, another chocolate fire guard, that won't work. They want to see everything so that we're under control.
Bob,
and they make
sorry to interject. Just briefly, are there concerns from your end about what we see in China with central bank digital currencies? Of course, the Treasury is consulting at the moment.
That's the first step, isn't it? It's social credit. So your behaviour in the eyes of authority dictates what you're allowed to do. Study, it's like the German Democratic Republic or undemocratic republic. Access to education, access to employment can all be rationed. Access to travel. When my colleague talks about fintech, are we a leader? Who's using it? It's a self-fulfilling ecosystem where they're all living these deductions from card payments.
Yeah, big concerns over civil liberties.
All right, Bob Liddon, Jack Rowlett, thank you both for contributing, putting your case in the argument. Let us know at home what you think in all of this.